Issue 3, Trump's Russia record.
But you never heard of Nord Stream 2. Nobody did until I got elected. And I said, why is Germany making a deal to give billions of dollars to Russia, and then we're protecting Germany from Russia? How does that work? And then on top of it, Germany is delinquent because they're only paying a little more than 1%, and they're supposed to be paying 2%, and even the 2% is low. But just remember, Trump, me, I got the countries of NATO to spend $130 billion going to $400 billion a year. Think of it, $400 billion a year more for NATO.
President Trump is often criticized for his approach towards Russian leader Vladimir Putin. And to be sure, Trump regularly speaks favorably of Putin and derisively of those who suggest that the US must adopt a tougher stance towards Moscow. But measured by actions, Trump's Russia record is more complicated. Indeed, contrasted with President Obama, Trump's policy towards Russia is harsher in many areas. Trump has deployed new nuclear weapons in face of Russian low-yield warheads. The CIA and NSA have more freedom of action in Russia operations. And Trump has increased US pressure on European powers to cancel Russia's Nord Stream 2 energy pipeline. And even on support for Ukraine, an issue over which Trump was impeached, the president has at least one undeniable claim to his tougher on Russia than Obama narrative.
What we've done for Ukraine relative to what the past did. They used to send pillars and we sent tank busters.
So, Clarence, when it comes to President Trump's record on Russia, judged by action, the president has, I think, a lot stronger record than some present. But he still persists in this affection narrative towards President Putin. How do you see, as we come to the end of at least this first term, President Trump's Russia record stacking up?
Well, I think you're right that he has a tougher on Russia record than President Obama. He has a tougher record than he gets credit for from a lot of people as far as the sanctions that we level against Russia, et cetera. But again, when push comes to shove, Mr. President, who do you believe more, our intelligence agencies or Mr. Putin? Back when he was standing right next to Mr. Putin at a news conference, he chose Putin as being more reliable than our own intelligence agencies. That's the kind of thing he does in public that makes people wonder who is his real ally.
Ryan, your thoughts on President Trump's record?
I think that he has had a decent record on Russia. I mean, he did kill Russian military men in Syria when he bombed 200 Russian military men in Syria. And I think that overall, the Russia hysteria is broken most people in the left's brain in America. I don't think that Russia is the major geopolitical threat that China is. I think that the worrying over Russia borderlines insanity for a lot of people. Our contributions to NATO are far too high. I think this is borderline hysteria, how the left has treated Russia at this point.
Eleanor.
President Trump has sowed distrust in our democracy and in our election system, which Putin loves. He has also driven a wedge into NATO, which Putin loves. And in Bob Woodward's book, Dan Coates is quoted on the record, Trump's former director of national intelligence, saying that he has deep suspicions that the Russians have something on this president. And I know Peter Strzok doesn't command a lot of credibility from Pat Buchanan, but he did work in counterterrorism for 20 years. And he's got a book out, and he basically says that Trump lied during 2016 when he said he had no business interest, no interest in Russia, when his lawyer was working on a deal for Trump Tower. Trump knew he lied, the FBI knew he lied, and Putin knew he lied.
And yet, Pat, if, as Democrats have suggested for years now, the Russians do have this compromat, this danglehold over the president, President Putin hasn't got a great deal out of it, has he, in terms of actually President Trump's actions?
No, he hasn't. I think the Beltway Russophobes have got the best deal out of it. They've been promoting this theory for a long time. Look, when the Soviet Union was a mighty power, huge nuclear adversary, I was in Minsk, I was in Yalta, I was in Moscow. American presidents went there. They invited foreign leaders, Russian leaders, Soviet leaders to the United States. Look, China has an economy 10 times the size of Russia's and a population 10 times the size, and they're a global world power, and they're moving. And you guys are all worried about a country, Russia, which is smaller than it's been since the time of Peter the Great. Hook yourselves into this absurdity.
Eleanor.
Economic competition is entirely different from what Putin is trying to do. And I would point out that Dan Coates is not a Democrat. He's a former Republican senator. So these are not simply partisan concerns.
No, but it's not a partisan concern, but there is a concern. Those who are neoliberal, those who are neoconservative, those who are patriots, or those who are America firsters, or those who are anti-intervention. That's where the divide is. It doesn't matter Republican, Democrat. That's not what the divide is. Dan Coates has always been a neocon his entire record, his entire history being in the Senate even.
Okay, well, patriotism comes in many colors, but we will move on.